Just up the mountain from Boone is the town of Blowing Rock. Known for its picturesque views and wide variety of outdoor activities, the crown of the Blue Ridge has recently been the subject of major infrastructure projects. Blowing Rock's economy is heavily dependent on tourism. Therefore, these infrastructure projects are essential for sustaining and supporting the growth of the town. Hello everyone, I'm Thomas Tarter, and welcome to this episode of Elevated Politics. The effects of Hurricane Helene, as well as the harsh, cold and slick winters the high country is known for, has created an urgent need for sturdier, climate-resilient infrastructure. To address this need, the Blowing Rock Town Council held a 3-day retreat where they discussed new infrastructure projects such as Memorial Park. Blowing Rock's Mayor Charlie Sellers, who says that the issue of infrastructure was a top reason why he ran for mayor, was highly optimistic about the projects discussed at the retreat, including the Middle Fork Greenway and Memorial Park.
They are completing it in portions. And the next portion, I think, that was probably brought up at our retreat was the section between the Blue Ridge Parkway and the town of Blowing Rock. Okay? And that should be going out for bid. And hopefully we'll see construction beginning in 2025. Memorial Park was actually started when my grandfather was mayor of Blowing Rock in the early 1950s. There had been 2 hotels built there, both of which had the name the Watauga Inn, both of which burned down. So they finally decided, the town council, my grandfather decided to purchase the property for a park in memory of those that served in World War I at that time and World War II. And they felt like that our children in town needed a place to play and to get outdoors. And so they started the park. In 2020, myself and council approved the expansion of the park and renovating of the park, which during 2020, we completed that first phase.
With more families moving to Blowing Rock, there has been increased demand for childcare as more and more families now have both parents working during the day. The Fox Den provides a safe and nurturing environment for Blowing Rock's youth, providing them with a balanced mix of learning and recreation. Mayor Sellers highlighted how the Fox Den has been a vital part of the community.
The Fox Den was the brainchild of our town manager, Shane Fox. And he really had a great idea. He really thinks outside of the box. He felt like he was trying to find ways for employee retention. And in this day and time, you're looking at benefits, you're looking at, of course, wages, and child care has become such an issue, cost-wise and availability. Shane Fox had this idea and brought it to council about a town daycare for town employees.
Mayor Sellers finally said that there is a lot of work to be done to tighten the disparity between home prices and homeowner salary.
Blowing Rock, we don't have a lot of property available. Essentially, Blowing Rock is bordered on 3 sides by National Park Service, so we can't expand much. So it is supply and demand. We don't have the supply, but we have the demand, so it's increasing the prices considerably.
President Trump has recently proposed eliminating the Department of Education, a longtime goal of the Republican Party. Republicans state that giving states local control over their education systems would result in better education for everyone, as the states can target specific needs of students by each individual state. Opponents argue that this will hurt low-income communities and schools. Schools zoned in communities with a 40% or higher poverty rate receive extra funding, known as Title I funding. Title I funding is used by low-income schools to support programs that will benefit students, such as extra instructions for struggling students, attracting more counselors and teachers, and English as a second language courses. We spoke to Watauga Board of Education member Adam Heggie, who is also a professor here at App State, to get his views on the recent proposal from the White House to eliminate the Department of Education.
The Department of Education, a lot of our government agencies, rightly so, need some restructuring. There's no doubt about that. But I think the approach that is being taken right now is really creating a lot of chaos and a lot of misunderstanding, those types of things. And so I think it's creating a lot of chaos among educational institutions at all levels.
Dr. Heggie discussed how he believes the proposal to eliminate the Department of Education will impact Watauga County.
Our school board, we have a strong school board, a strong superintendent here that is looking into these things daily. We have a good legal team, I think, that is also looking into things and those types of things to protect us and to make sure that we're still able to provide everything that we need to do for the students and their families here in Watauga County.
Dr. Heggie gives us a preview of the next Watauga Board of Education meeting on March 10th.
Big issue this year has been weather-related issues, and so that's really been at the forefront of our minds here recently, and thinking about how can we respond to the weather-related no days, remote days, those types of things that our students have been faced with this year. It's been a challenging year for all of us, the school system, families in our community. We went through Hurricane Helene in the fall, followed up by a pretty active winter weather year this year. So thinking through some of those solutions have really been at the forefront of our mind.
Around the corner from our studio at the Wildwood Community Market, Chris Torra tells us more about the issues Councilman George discussed with local residents at a recent town hall event.
Dalton George held his first ever town hall meeting here at Wildwood Community Market, where he talked to local residents about pressing issues.
First, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've been up to, some highlights. We actually had a council meeting today. It went from like 9 to 3 and got a lot done. I think people are going to be really excited about some of that information. We'll open it up to a Q&A, just kind of have a conversation. Anything I've not touched on, you're curious about what the town's doing, and kind of answer as best I can. There's a number of things, so I feel like I'll have good news on a variety of issues that people care about. We adopted the Climate Action Plan recently, and that's kind of something that many towns across North Carolina are doing. It's a guiding document that really encourages environmentally friendly practices, climate resiliency. Do better at that, be included, right? Like I could walk more, I could bike more, I could hop on Apple Cart more. And so I think that's a piece of the puzzle, right? I will say the funniest thing about parking decks is they're like $3 to $4 million, and you know, a town being able to front that bill right off the bat is pretty daunting, especially when you think about projects like preservation of green space, re-naturalizing spaces. I think we've learned the importance of that after Helene, and so we're going to continue to hold ourselves to that standard, weatherization, reduction of carbon. We're continuing to kind of re-examine where the floodplains are in our town. The state of North Carolina recently just sent out new flood maps, so we're evaluating that, continuing to kind of apply standards, look for ways to encourage development outside of the floodplain, bringing some of those buildings out. I mean, if somebody would have known that this is a property that was prone to flooding, maybe moved their car, moved some of their belongings upstairs, whatever the case could be, I think somewhere like a Bavarian Village, right? You've got 2 stories, and these people had no idea. And so we're going to continue to kind of go after property managers that willfully didn't follow that. And then also we're going to look to try to install flood ordinance signs kind of across town. The way that, if you park in a parking lot, this is a tow-away zone, that you can park and know, okay, well, this is an area that's prone to flooding. The university is almost its own kind of nation. It's kind of fascinating. So the university is a state entity. None of our ordinances regulate them. That's why the biggest buildings in town are on campus. So yeah, nothing to worry about when it comes to the university. For the folks at home, we have an ice storm in Boone today, and we had probably 20 plus people come to a town hall about local government. I think that's a big deal, right? So I'm going to continue to do it. I'm going to go across town, different types of businesses, churches. I want to make this a habit, right? Because we have a town of 20,000 people. A lot of people see my Instagram. A lot of people kind of know what's going on in the town, but they want to have these conversations, get some clarity about government. And that's what I'm going to be out here trying to do in 2025. That's my New Year's resolution, and among some other things I'll be rolling out as time goes on.
Councilman George looks to continue to hold events like this for community outreach here in the near future.
Stay tuned. After this short break, we will be discussing a proposal to add a social district to Boone.
Life is a journey. We're told that there are mountains and valleys before us. A mountaineer trudges through. Where others see an obstacle, a mountaineer sees an opportunity. A mountaineer climbs tomorrow's mountains today. So what is a mountaineer? A mountaineer is you.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Appalachian Weekly News. I'm Jenna Dunning.
And I'm Hunter Boston. We have you covered on all things Ashe, Avery, and Watauga County.
Welcome back to Black at App State TV. I'm your host, Rhea Autry, and we are so happy to have you here with us today.
Bienvenidos a otro episodio de Buenos Días, Boone. Yo soy Natalia Guiar.
Y yo soy Denise Casales.
Hello, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Can't Think Straight.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Connected Cultures.
This is Adam Church, live with the Adam Church Band, RFG, baby.
Hello, and welcome to Religion and Life. I'm your host, Ozzy Ostral.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of the A Game.
It's a good moment, you know.
Hi, Pixels.
Oh my God, no.
That doesn't sound good at all.
Welcome back, my fellow insomniacs.
One signature proposal Councilman George introduced at the town hall was to introduce a social district to Howard Street. The district would allow for the open consumption of alcohol in the district. Social districts have recently gained popularity in other North Carolina towns, such as Charlotte, Raleigh, and even right here in the mountains, with towns such as North Wilkesboro and Hickory adding social districts to their town. The surge of popularity is a result of North Carolina State House Bill 890, signed by then Governor Roy Cooper in 2021. Allowing municipal governments to decide whether or not to add a social district. We now bring in guest analyst, Elevated Politics' very own Jake Casey, to discuss more about the district.
Hey Thomas, thanks for having me.
Okay, so Jake, well, tell us a little bit more about the proposal to add a social district.
Yeah, so the proposal right now that Dalton George is trying to get passed is a social district on Howard Street, which will allow for alcohol consumption throughout that whole street, open alcohol consumption.
Okay, so a lot of people may say that this will bring more commerce and tourism to the region. So what would you say to those people?
I would say yes and no. While social districts can be a profitable thing with increasing in alcohol sales as well as tourism and commerce, I would say that this is a little bit different than most places because App State has a very interesting base of people. It has the college, and then it has the students, and then it has the locals. So those don't always go hand in hand. So while I think this could benefit the college kids because they have more chances for socialization as well as alcohol, because a lot of them are just now turning 21 and of age, I would say this could hurt local business in a way of changing their clientele a little bit, because now the families that used to go to these businesses might feel a little scared off. So those are the people that have the money that can come constantly. So I feel like this might only benefit the people who are only going to be here 4 years and might hurt the people that have families here.
So tell us a little bit more about like how the North Carolina State Bill 890 got passed, who supported it?
Yeah, so Roy Cooper signed it in 2021 and actually got bipartisan support. So that means Democrats and Republicans both thought that it was a good idea to let local municipalities have their own social districts.
Okay, so going off of your last point about trying to find that mix between students and locals. So the North Carolina, we really have a shortage of police officers right now, especially Watauga County. So how do you think that this will impact alcohol-related issues such as drunk driving?
You know, I think giving open alcohol consumption to college students on a street when you already have a limited police work is a dangerous recipe. I think this will be one more thing that they have to do, one more thing that they have to govern, and one more thing that they have to enforce that will be harder and could take away from the town's safety as a whole. And it's like fire and gasoline. You're giving open alcohol consumption to students on a small area. Of course, it's going to seep over past just Howard Street. So I think it could cause for a lot of problems.
Well, thank you, Jake, so much for providing us with that insight. And that's all the time we have for today. You can catch new episodes every 2 Mondays at 5:30. Be sure to catch our next episode. Until then, I'm Thomas Tarter. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Elevated Politics.